Think with me for a moment. If you're familiar with what happens when a subdivision begins, they have the undesirable lot that cannot be built on. They have the trash trees that are no good for the site of the new homes that are coming. And they generally are pushed back and pushed back out of the usable land. What we have here is what can happen when the members of the Homeowners Association and in this community come together to produce a really great thing. And beginning with Rochelle Wasserman and her husband, Richard Powell.
It all goes back to around 2007 when the subdivision was first coming on up. And the developer was going to put in a nature trail that never happened. What did occur is the whole area that you see here was filled with scrub, construction debris. Kids were playing it anyhow, and it was unsightly and dangerous to the kids. After a while, me and Chris Williams, one of my next door neighbor, who was the president of the board, said, "Hey, no one's going to put in the nature trail. There's plenty of good bones around the place, beautiful trees. We just need to, spiff it up." So Chris and I were doing something that was along the lines of Stanley and Livingston, expeditions, and we were surveying a trail around here that would be gentle enough slope that, you could push a baby stroller and, people of all ages could enjoy it. But interesting enough that, if people wanted a pleasant jog, it would be an interesting change of terrain.
And you had to also consider watershed.
Exactly. There were a lot of areas where there was like some runoff, so we wanted to control erosion with riprap and putting in some dry bed drainage and preserving some of the natural characteristics that were already present here. So once we got it surveyed, we got together about 30 members of the community and actually built the original trail. And over time, it's been added to in terms of new plants, new activities, a little bit of natural sculptures around the areas, repurposing like the trash that was from the construction, like the little bridge over there. Some of the things that we did when we were designing this trail is to think of some of the areas as outside rooms and different purposes. So in some of the sunnier areas, we've put out deliberate pollinator beds.
Yeah.
And that serves the purpose of, one, just naturally helping to balance the ecology, but also a lot of us have little backyard gardens. So by promoting the pollinators there, it helps with us backyard gardeners, get better yields on the crops that we put on in. Right. And we have a neighbor on the other end who has beehives. So the neighbor who's there who has the beehive and us planting the pollinators for them, it's been a win-win.
Absolutely.
All around.
Got it. Put your airplane wings out. Put your airplane wings out.
The children were really super interested, and I think they felt really proud of it because it was something that they contributed to. So when we first put it based on your abilities and your physical skill sets and so on, some did the heavy lifting, others were handing out water and, putting the initial mulch down. And it was really fun. And you know what I thought was great? Because the kids were involved in making it, when they saw other kids come around doing things like, pulling plants or tossing trash, they said, no, that's our trail. So they were really invested in it.
Protecting it.
And we've done things that the kids like, also kids of all ages like the adults. We have like a Halloween trail walk on here, so that's always looked forward to in the community. The other thing is it's sort of a learning experience for some of the older kids. Like, for example, we put in some pawpaw trees, and wherever we would put like a native variety to spiff up the trail for both color, practicality, providing food for the wildlife, like some of the mulberry trees, service berry trees and preserving some of the blackberries. And you know, the kids learn about nature just coming on this trail.
Well, and you also have taken into mind the fact that we need pollinators, and you have some sunny area that those plants are there, and you also have birdhouses.
Yes, along the trail, so that's been very helpful to bring back some of the bluebirds. This is second growth type, you know, forest, because there used to be a lot of farms. There's still another one on the other side.
This is sort of, might have been an undergrowth to the big tall trees, the hardwoods.
For the most part, we try to go to some of the nurseries that are local that propagate the natives and, you know, put them around the place. And one of the things that I really like, I'm an azalea fan, so we've unfortunately passed the season where they're blooming, but we always have something that's blooming in this garden 3 seasons. So the azaleas bring in a little bit of spring color, and now we have the daylilies. And we've also tried to think about having views where people can stop and see different vistas along the trail. And you can see a little area that's a pollinator area that also has a bench precisely for that, you know, purpose. Some of the bigger challenges that have been around here is trying to think in advance. What sort of things can you plant that can take care of themselves with the actual rainfall, don't require, you know, a lot of fertilization or anything else, and then
take over naturally.
Yeah, so one of the things we do is, for the most part, when the leaves, you know, fall, we leave it alone. That's like natural fertilizer.
You don't clear anything.
No, we let the leaves, you know, feed the plants.
So the funding and how you get some of your mulch, how does that work?
Well, we try very much to repurpose and recycle things to be cost effective. So we often are able to get mulch for free from taking it from the county. So their trash is our treasure. They need to get rid of the wood chips, and we put the wood chips down.
That's Montgomery County, and then you have Cumberland Electric membership.
Oh, yes.
Power. They all chip up trees, and they're looking for a convenient place, too.
Yes, we've helped them out a lot on occasion. In terms of maintaining the trail, in addition to Richard and myself putting in a lot of effort into it, the neighbors help, but also this has been an outstanding opportunity for a number of our Boy Scout troops around here to get their community service hours. A lot of the teenagers for high schools, they work on the trail doing maintenance. I was very impressed. They moved about 10 tons of riprap to reinforce the north limb of that trail.
Okay, now, so in actuality, this land that you're sort of camping on is part of the right-of-way that belongs to the entire homeowners association, right?
That is correct. This is a no-build area because it's a natural drainage sinkhole area.
Yeah. Well, I can see the multiple hours that you as a community have put in, but on the other hand, I can see the multiple hours of pleasure, education, and just imagine during, you know, we've been sort of close to home lately, and I can imagine how this trail has been such an asset for the people living out here in this community.
There's always been some people who were always using it from the get-go, but you know, when the COVID pandemic came out and so many of us have had to stay put, this has been a wonderful thing for people to get out of their homes, and you know, you can, you know, stay far enough apart and enjoy nature at the same time.
And I commend you for being part of that early brainchild to put this together for the good of this community.
Well, thank you very much, Ann, and I also want to put out a thanks that, well, I did a lot of the thought. I want to send out a thanks to all the other members of the community, especially my husband, Chris Williams, and a few others who made this trail what it is today.
For inspiring garden tours, growing tips, and garden projects, visit our website at volunteergardener.org or on YouTube at the Volunteer Gardener channel, and like us on Facebook.